Yeah, for every 1 million people, you have to test X number of people, and that is standardized across the globe. There is no controlling agency to do that. There's no regulatory agency, regulatory organization who can really enforce such kind of things. So you have different numbers for various countries, and that's why Trump comes and says, "Oh, I don't believe China," or some of the other countries would not. China, who haven't really published how many people they're testing per 1 million, and that is a real cause of worry. Unless until you really want to be very serious about really stopping this virus, you need to be very very clear about what is your testing percentage in million, and really how many people are infected um, in in terms of your population, and where is the R number, and how you are looking at it in future perspective. So that has been also a little confounding and perplexing for me, because I really haven't got to the grips of how this whole numbers have been handled. Numbers, people come up with the death numbers, the people infected numbers. Every day I hear politicians and ministers and come the researchers or the secretaries come and say, oh, so many so and so people have been infected, so many people are dying. But really, I mean, what is the whole context, and how does one look at those numbers and figures, and how do one contextualize those numbers rightly? So it's tough. It's really tough. And for normal people, without really going to the details, they just get a overall picture without really getting into the nitty gritties of what actually is the real scenario. And I'm afraid that's going to last for a long time. And unless and until there is somebody really enforcing the rules related to the testing, I think it's going to be one country giving a picture which is vastly different from the other country, and really we wouldn't know the clear picture coming out, and how we're going to really going to control this scenario. It's a worldwide phenomenon, and nobody is escaping that. I think the other really perplexing point in this coronavirus scenario, looking at it deeply, is the herd immunity aspect. The herd immunity was first heard when the British government really came up with an interesting theory initially, mind you, initially, that they want to get 60% of the population infected with this virus, so that there's a herd immunity developed, and therefore the virus wouldn't really spread after that. But they dropped it in between. Why? Because this theory is implausible. This theory can't work. And this was not tried again by any other government other than the Swedish government, which really hasn't had any form of lockdown, and they're doing the herd immunity. Whether are they succeeding, that's a matter up for debate. But why have the people not been explained about the finer aspects of a herd immunity, and what are the benefits of it, and does really a country benefit out of it, and has it worked earlier in any of the cases? So there's always a matter of debate related to lockdown, because lockdown causes economic hardship and uncertainty and losses for business all over, and not the most desirable thing in terms of from an economic perspective. But an herd immunity is certainly not the right mechanism to go about it, as it leads to the death of much more people than what it could have been if you had a lockdown. It's a very fine balance between striking a lockdown and easing restrictions, and having a complete no lockdown, like in Sweden, where they may argue that, yeah, we had more people dying probably, but there would have been more people dying due to economic hardships in case we were to impose a very strict lockdown. Australia